What is the first step in preparing a speech? The question I have for you is, what do Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, and the Village Storyteller all have in common? They all know their audience. And when they prepare their speeches, they prepare knowing their audience is going to listen. We're going to talk today about how you can prepare your speech and the first things you need to do in order to make that effective. I'm Jason Hewlett. I'm a Hall of Fame keynote speaker. I'm excited to teach you how I've done this for myself as well. First of all, let's talk about the importance of preparation. Yes, preparation is the bedrock of all things when it comes to speaking. And especially everybody has an opportunity to either be prepared or not at all. I say do not wing it. Come prepared. Not so prepared that you can't work within the structure of what you've got, but it's part of your promise as a speaker to make sure that you show up ready and prepared. So the often overlooked example of getting a speech figured out is the audience. Yes, so many people prepare a speech or a presentation as if to say, I don't care who listens, I'm just going to come up with something. And that is fine in certain instances, but we want you to succeed. We want you to get to the place where you're like, oh, I feel good about this. The first step is truly to know your audience. And here's why the audience comes first. The reason is because if you prepare a speech that nobody wants to buy or listen to, then you're not going to have an audience. However, if you prepare something that an audience says, that is what we need at our event, that is the type of person we need leading us, all of those things matter. And so when you are serious about creating that and preparing it for your audience, think about the audience first. What's in it for them? Not just what you're talking about, but what they need to hear. So here's some practical steps to knowing your audience as you start to prepare your speech. First of all, know their demographics. Age, gender, who's in the audience. It's so important to know these types of things. If you don't do that research first, you might show up and be like, oh gosh, I prepared the wrong thing. Another thing I like to do is make sure I know their profession, their interests if possible, their needs especially. Why are they at the event? What was promised in the title? You have a promise whenever you make a speech, and so your audience is expecting to deliver what you said you were going to talk about. Analyzing their needs. What are they looking to gain as an audience? Maybe they're there for a parent instructional. Maybe they're there to improve in their work. Maybe they're there just for self-improvement and motivation. As long as you deliver upon what they're expecting to hear, then they're going to be happy. Now, I can tell you as somebody who's done it the wrong way, I've actually been booked where they told me they wanted a motivational speech for all of their business people. And then I got there and saw the poster, and it was a night of comedy and music. We worked hard to make this event happen, and yet the planner and I somehow, in miscommunication, it didn't happen as well as we wanted it to. And so what happened? I had to change on the fly to deliver what was expected from the audience. That's a tough place to be in. Also, context matters. Is this a corporate event or a small meetup? There might be a certain formality around which you need to network and work within your speaking, and so that's an important thing to know for sure. And here's a takeaway action you can do right away. Conduct a pre-event poll or call with the planner, just to make sure that you know exactly what they're looking for. That will help you prepare your speech really quickly. So before we talk about the rest of the points in preparing your speech, I'd love it if you would put in the comments how you prepare for your speech. Maybe something I haven't quite mentioned yet. I'd love to check out your comments. I also like to talk about the promise in action. It's your commitment to your audience. What's cool about this is that we all make a promise right up front when we start speaking. Whether you start with a story or something musical, maybe some humor or a quote, maybe it's a factoid, you choose how you're going to deliver the promise to the audience. But you want to promise that they're going to get something out of it. It would be like if I started this video and promised you how to prepare a speech, and then I went on and talked about something absolutely different. I want you to know that you make a promise from the beginning. It is called the promise. I promise that when I talk about this, you're going to get X, Y, Z result. And so as you create your promise statement, that which you're going to deliver to the audience, it's so helpful for them because they're anticipating it. They look forward to it. For example, I want to promise you that I'm going to help you, and at the end of this video, I'm going to give you something that is completely going to transform the way that you prepare your speeches as well as your signature moves. So stick around for that. Let's talk about bonus tips for excellence. When it comes to your body language, your body says quite a bit, doesn't doesn't it? Now, you can communicate through your body just by your posture. So if I'm sitting upright, or if I'm using big gestures, my hands for different things, I might even be the way that I'm walking or the way that I'm standing. I know some people like to kneel down on stage. Other people like to, get people involved. In terms of body language, it really says a lot as to who you are. I've done other videos about this, but think about for yourself how you can create through body language more of your message. This should help you in preparing your speech for your audience. Then of course there's vocal variety. There's pitch and tone and velocity and the different ways in which we use our voice. I've been using my voice in an extraordinarily different way from most people for a long time. And so when I prepare a speech, one of the best ways that I think of it is, how can I deliver for my audience what they need to hear, but also how can I share something that only I can do? And so I'll present some different music, some comedy, some stories. I might be doing voices that will make them sit up and think, oh wow, that's interesting. It's actually going to lead them to think about how they can utilize their voice in order to share more of what makes them unique. And so your voice matters so much along with the body language to make that work. And then there's the strong opening and the strong closing. Yes, the middle matters, but the strong opening and the even stronger close are so essential. Let me give you some examples of people that do this better than anyone I've seen in the entire speaking industry. First of all, my friend Mike Rayburn. He's a CSP, CPAE, which stands for Certified Speaking Professional, and he's in the Speaking Hall of Fame. Mike Rayburn is a masterful guitarist. In fact, he calls himself the world's funniest guitarist. Now, he was told that he was that guy, and so he's used that as his branding. And it's actually true. I've seen him open like this, from the very back of the stage and the entire audience. Sometimes he'll come out from the back, other times he'll come through the audience and he'll be playing a song. I don't know how it sounds. And it's amazing. And then he comes and everybody's watching him as he's walking through the audience. And the spotlight's on him. This is an incredible opener because it's musical. And he's doing things nobody else can do. And then he gets on the stage and then he ends it. And everyone gives him a standing ovation for his opening piece as a speaker. That is so amazing because it's so rare to see somebody get a standing ovation because of their opener. But then he says, why do I open this way? Because I can. It's a great line. And he kills, and then he goes into his message of what if and being a virtuoso. He's one of the great speakers there are. Now here's what's cool. He then closes with an even bigger closer, which is Bohemian Rhapsody on the guitar. And it's almost an impossible piece to play. It's so astounding he gets a standing ovation every single time. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, oh man, I'm not a musician. I don't play the guitar. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk about why that's not so important for you. Rather, it's important to know what people are doing, just like Mike Rayburn. Go check him out. Another guy I love to pattern after and watch is Dr. Willie Jolly. Dr. Willie Jolly, he sings incredibly well. When he speaks, it sounds like he's preaching and it sounds poetic and it's beautiful. He is a throwback orator, one of the greats and the communicators of all time. And when you check him out, you'll enjoy it. He always closes with a big song where he sings and he makes everybody stand up and they're cheering and they're excited. It's a great way to open with a song, a great way to close with a song as well. Check out Willie Jolly. And then perhaps one of my most favorite in the world is Brené Brown. If you haven't heard of Brené Brown, this woman is an absolute powerhouse. Watch her come out on stage, doesn't sing. No, she would admit she would never do that. She comes out on stage and shares the most vulnerable, stripped down stories you've ever heard. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry. She takes you on a journey. I still get chills thinking about a story she talks about being in the lake with her husband. There are some stories you will be thrilled to look her up. I hope you'll check out Brené Brown because she opens powerfully, her middle is incredible, and then her close is that of extreme vulnerability and authenticity. It is so powerful when she shares that which she does. And so I hope that those people will inspire you by looking them up. But now I want you to think about for yourself as you're preparing your speech, as you're getting ready for your audience. And now, how do you share that which only you have? You see, you have signature moves that make you unique. They're unlike anything anyone else can do. Whether it's music, whether it's a vulnerable story, maybe you're funny, maybe you're extremely analytical. The power of sharing that is part of your promise. I'm going to teach you how you can do that. Are you ready? I want you to go check this out. It's going to change your life. It's an assessment that you can take. It's called the ICM process. Identify, clarify, magnify. Go to icmprocess.com, and I look forward to watching that change your life.